What's up guys, Jake Lowry here, and today we're gonna try out the soft body swim bait that I actually think is a game changer. So we don't need to harp on this story too much, but I tried Ben Milliken's Hangover Shad thinking it was gonna be amazing, and it actually turned out to be a terrible lure. On those videos, you guys recommended that I use a different soft body swim bait that was actually the game changer for bass fishing. So today, I decided to buy that swim bait, and we're gonna test it out in Sam Rayburn, the Lake of Giants. But before we start fishing, I want to show you guys something that's absolutely crazy about this lake. My plan today was to walk along this bank here and get out to that point and fish out there. But as you guys can see, that is all underwater. And if you look around here, this is Overlook Park, a spot that I fish the rocks here, and we're talking 20 feet higher than what the lake level normally is. So I'm not really sure what that is gonna do to the fishing today, guys, because it could be good or it could be bad. Usually when the fish are in flooded conditions, they tend to go up into the really shallow areas. So I'll show you guys maybe some of the areas we're gonna be targeting today. This is a prime example of what I was talking about. All of these trees and stuff are flooded, and those bass just go right up into those trees chasing bait and stuff during the flood events. That swim bait that we decided to use today is actually $30, so it's a lot more expensive than the Hangover Shad. I think the Hangover Shad comes in at about $15. So we're gonna see if double the money is actually worth double the fish catching. And we're gonna take that thing out in just a minute. But guys, I think these flooded conditions could potentially get the Giants in play, because anything that's this variable, you never know what's gonna happen. So stay tuned guys, and let's start fishing. So here's the swim bait we're gonna be using today. It is the Megabass Mag Draft in an 8-inch size. This thing looks absolutely insane, guys. Let's take it out of the box and get our first impressions of the bait. All right guys, so my first impressions of this thing are actually crazy. This tail has so much action. The hook is extremely sharp, guys. Like, I'm already pricking my finger on that. What's very interesting about this bait is the hook doesn't actually penetrate the bait like other soft body swim baits. The hook actually is attached to the bait via this magnet right here. That magnet just sticks that hook right on there, and it's actually very simple and protects the bait a little better. So I guess hence the name Mag Draft. So the eyes on this thing are very realistic, and the colorway is like a white luminescent color with a blue top. And overall, it looks like any style of shad or swim bait that a bass might just freaking destroy. One more interesting thing I want to show you about today that's a little different than normal is I bought a new rod. I actually broke my heavy action rod in one of my videos, maybe in December, and I ended up just using it taped and tied up, but it finally gave way last week. Fortunately for me, Academy had 80% off all rods and reels. So I picked up a Guggen Squad muscle rod here, and this is what I'm going to use for my heavy action applications. So all swim baits, big jigs, big Texas rigs, we're going to be throwing on this thing. This is 7'5" heavy action rod. I got it paired up with a Daiwa Tatula and 18-pound fluorocarbon, so I think we got a fantastic swim bait rod for today. So before we get started fishing and get all rigged up, make sure you guys like the video if you like this swim bait fishing, because I really do, just because we have the option to hook into a freaking giant fish. So let's get this thing rigged up and film our first impressions of the action of this thing in the water. All right guys, I got the Mag Draft tied on. Let's see if we can't get a first cast to see the action of this thing, because I think this thing is gonna be amazing. I am gonna be comparing it to Ben Milliken's bait, whether you guys like it or not, because that's my only other experience with this style of bait. Let's get our first cast and see how this thing is. Okay, so we got it in the water. It sinks head down. That's pretty interesting. And let's reel it in. Okay, guys, literally perfect. Literally, this thing reels in perfectly straight. The tail wobbles back and forth like amazingly. It doesn't matter how slow you reel it in, this bait freaking kills it. So one of the things about Ben Milliken's bait is he made a whole video on how to use it and like how to retrieve it. And the thing would still just wobble back and forth like this and this and this and this. But this bait, guys, doesn't matter how slow you retrieve it, it has a freaking crazy action with no wobble. So, I mean, you guys tell me, but that first impression was fantastic. Now, I am a little concerned about this magnet and how well this hook is sticking. It seems like on those little short casts, this bait keeps going like this. Okay guys, that may have been my fault. It looks like that hook should go and get buried into that bait. So hopefully if we hook it like this, we don't have that issue where the hook moves around. But let's get another cast with the hook kind of rearranged. See if we can't get a better opinion on the action here. Okay, interesting. The tail is a little wobbly and does get hooked on that treble hook, but I'd rather have better action and, you know, occasional hooking itself than terrible action and none of that. Okay, guys, again, just a slow retrieve that we were told you can't do with Ben Milliken's bait is freaking killing it with this bait, guys. Oh, this is the one, guys. This is the swim bait that you probably should buy. Just based off preliminary action of this thing, it looks killer in the water, guys. I'm not kidding you. Like 10 times better than that $15 bait. So let's get a long cast, guys, and see if we can't summon up a giant bass today, because I think, you know, they're swimming around this shallow water. Oh, and by the way, this Guggen Squad rod is like literally perfect for this application. It is the perfect weight for this big swim bait, and I mean, for $100, I feel like you can't beat this at the price point. How crazy would it be if I caught a fish on the first cast with this thing? The thing that I didn't like about Ben Milliken's bait was that you didn't know the speed at which you were retrieving it. I mean, relative to other baits, the speed was so specific that you didn't know whether or not the thing had good action or bad action. So you were just like throwing it blindly, and you could be retrieving it and this thing could be going like this the whole time, or you could be retrieving it, it could be going perfect. And you guys, I mean, whether you like it or not, you don't know the speed at which you're fishing that lure unless you have live scope. And if it's the only live scope specific bait, it should only be marketed that way. It shouldn't be marketed towards everyone or to try and get people from fishing from the bank to throw it if it's a live scope only product. So let's get a little closer to these trees here, because these fish are gonna be up shallow today. Let's try and see if we can't summon a bass up. Maybe a little sinkage. I don't want to end up in the top of a tree though, because I don't know where they are. It drags tight, because if a bass hits this thing, it's going to be crazy. But yeah, guys, my confidence in this bait, just like right off the rip, relative to any other swim bait I've thrown, is just miles better. Like Megabass really did it with this one, guys. It swims straight, it swims true. It doesn't matter how you retrieve it, this thing is freaking killer. Oh my gosh. I would say if you're going to get a swim bait like this, just buy this one. It's not worth wasting your money on any other swim bait. Like, this thing is that good. Oh my gosh, guys. So I've been noticing about this hook that's magnetically stuck on is when I make a cast, because of its inertia, it kind of moves off, right? So during the cast, this hook isn't attached, but as soon as you start reeling it in, it attaches perfect just like that. So it's really not an issue if this thing falls off or not because of that magnet. And honestly, it's like great design for this thing. Like Ben Milliken's, every time you lost that hook out of the swim bait, you put a new hole in it. It just destroyed the lifespan of the swim bait. But this one, it seems like we're not putting a hole in it every time. So it's probably gonna last a lot longer too. So you have a better swim bait that lasts longer. I mean, why would you buy the other one? Really? And you guys are right. I should listen to some of your comments more often about baits to try and things like that, because I didn't realize that this thing could be as good as it actually is. The only thing that I think you could improve about this bait is how it sinks. And the only reason I think that would be better is because you could pause it and it would sink flat. That would give you a little more action and like versatility with this bait other than it just slinking straight down. But I guess, you know, you can't have weight towards the belly section of this bait because you need the action in the tail. So I'm not sure where the design was done with that, but I think if this thing sunk flat, it would literally be the perfect swim bait at this price point. Hopefully we can hook into a fish with it and test out its durability on a fish. You never know this time of year with these big swim baits whether or not you're gonna hook into anything. So stay tuned, guys, because it could be a big one. There's no way these guys are coming over here. I see people, looks like park rangers in a freaking side-by-side. They're gonna say it's hazardous for me to fish from the bank. Now, let me tell you why it would be hazardous. Is I have no clue. I'm standing on ground. Even if the freaking dam collapsed, I'd be fine. But you never know what these people are thinking. I'm gonna be a good citizen and walk further away from where they have to drive to, so they have to walk a little further to kick me out of a public spot because of a hazard. Okay. Looks like there's a little rock pile through here. And it's kind of a shallow section of water, so maybe there'll be a fish sitting in it. Again, I'm not sure how shallow these fish are, what the deal is. They could be shallow, they could be deep. I've seen a couple fish jump here, but with there being so much water, these fish could be really spread out. But that doesn't mean those big fish don't come around here and start freaking swimming up in the shallows chasing bait, because that's what they do when there's waters flooded. Okay guys, I already see 2 bass right below me, so that's a good sign. Yeah, these fish are right on the bank, guys. If I had a spinning rod and a small bait, I'd be catching dinks all day. Oh. Oh. Okay, guys, I see a 10-pounder. I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. I see a 10-pounder. That, I actually had a bite there. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm freaking out. He was following my lure. It was a freaking 10-pounder. Come on, come back. Come back and bite it. Oh my gosh, guys. I hope you guys could see that. That was freaking crazy. I don't know if he's gonna come back. I swear to God, if I get kicked out of the spot that I just saw a freaking 10-pounder at, I'm gonna lose my shit. I'm gonna freaking lose my shit at these people. Guys, I'm not kidding you. 10-pounder following my bait. Right off this rock pile. Dang it, guys. I don't think you're gonna get a fish like that to come back. That was unbelievable. Oh my gosh. Maybe if I cast further out this way. It looks like he kind of swam off around this way, so we'll see if that might make a difference. That was freaking crazy, guys. I don't think I've ever seen a fish that big follow one of my baits. Dang it, guys. That sucks. This looks like this could be a spot where a 10-pounder is hiding too. Up in these freaking weeds. And the roots of this stuff, guys. Imagine. Okay, there's a fish following it. He's not very big. He's about the size of my swim bait. But that doesn't mean there aren't any bigger ones over here. This is crazy, guys. I've never seen this many bass along the bank here. That was 100% a bite. 100%. Here we are, fellows. This is actually a really good vantage point too. Wow, this Guggen Squad rod just freaking bombs casts. I'm not kidding you guys. This thing is legit. Easy, legit $100 rod. Just a crazy improvement. Hopefully we could test how it fights a giant today. That would be legit. Oh no. Oh no. Don't lose this thing. At least I can get onto the other side. That is no bueno. Thought I hooked a freaking fish. Oh. Dang it, guys. It's my only one, too. Dang it, guys. I might have just lost a $30 lure. How could this... Lost it. Lost a $30 lure, guys. Freak! That is so annoying. Oh, no. Well, I guess I got a couple options. All right, guys, that is going to wrap up the video. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get it done today on the mag draft. We did end up seeing a freaking giant fish follow that thing, so I think it's worth an investment in another one. However, it did suck that we lost it pretty early on into the day. Didn't really catch anything or see any fish after that, so overall, you know, it's one of those summer days where it just didn't happen. I think in general, though, guys, that mag draft is probably the best soft plastic swim bait that's on the market. That's a large size, like an 8-inch size. So if you guys ever see that in your store and want to try it, definitely give it a try. But anyways, guys, as always, if you like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and I will catch you next time.